Yeah, we've just talked about the external parasites, or ectoparasites. So these are the effects of external parasites: blood loss, death, lead to anemia, and can cause open sores and cause animals to eat less, and even the fleece discoloring. So the financial effects is that there's a drop in production and there's huge financial burdens, the cost of chemicals to control or ivermec. They are very expensive, and those are the ways to prevent or control the lice. Ivermec injection, that one. So you can dock your lamp to prevent a dosing, sorry, to prevent a blowfly. That's management. Animal poisoning. So when plants can be toxic due to all these factors, as you can see there, it happens uh, when you have purchased new animals during food scarcity or overgrazing. But now, if the animals may be poisoned when they are fed with fodder or feed that contains poisonous plants, fungi, or chemicals. So they become toxic if these fungi produce a rot called mycotoxins. Ne? And also even fertilizers can use plant poisoning. These are all the effects of poisonous plants: nervous symptoms, digestive symptoms, heart problems, respiratory problems, and skin and hair problems. These are the three examples of plant poisoning. Maize fungus, there you can see the maize fungus, and those are the symptoms and the treatment. The poison bulb, number two, and those are the symptoms of a poison bulb and the treatment. And then we have the thorn apple, which is this one. This is a thorn apple. So we have a maize fungus, poisonous bulb, and a thorn apple, which is this one. So those are the symptoms and how to prevent it. So it's very important to not overgraze, prevent field fires, because some of these poisonous crops, poisonous plants, they come after felt they are the first plants after the felt was burnt, ne? After felt fires. Okay. Poisoning, metallic salt poisoning. It occurs when excessive amounts of salt are taken in. Ne? All right. These are the symptoms of salt poisoning: or dehydration, or blindness, increased thirst. You see your animals taking in a lot of water. So no excessive salivation, aggressiveness. So this is how to treat for salt poisoning. Remove the source of salt poisoning. If it's feed, remove. If it's water, remove and provide fresh water so that animals can drink a lot of water. We have urea poisoning. Urea poisoning, how does it happen? Urea leaks of feed containing urea are not, if they are not mixed correctly, it may result into animals consuming too much urea at a specific time, and then it will kill them. Or leaks of feed containing urea are put out in the rain, and the urea will dissolve in the water and form highly concentrated puddles. And then once the animals drink this water, then they will die. You understand? So these are the symptoms of urea poisoning. One of them is bloating. The animal will bloat because it cannot belch once it has. And another one is tetany, those painful muscle cramps. How do you treat a salt poisoning or control it? You dose a vinegar and water with a stomach tube or inject directly into a rumen. Make sure that there's clean fresh water. Monitor your animals regularly. Cover ezaa leaks, mineral leaks against rain. And also make sure that urea or salt leaks, you provide them simultaneously. And when you increase supplementation of urea, do it gradually. Limit access to urea leaks. Ne? Okay. Then there's an example of a bloat. What is a bloat? A bloat is simply the build-up of gas in the rumen. So the way the animal will get rid of the gas is belching or eructation. So if that does not happen, then you will find the swelling or distended left abdomen, which is usually very painful, and death will come in just 15 minutes because death doesn't come out. So these are some of the examples of bloating. You can see that left abdomen there because of bloating, and it can lead to death. So this is how you can help your animals to when they've got to release that gas. You pass that stomach tube uh, so that the gas can be released, or in cases you use that trocar or cannula punched through the side into the rumen, like we've shown here, the cannula, so that the gas can come out. And then prevention, avoid high risk pastures, and also introduce cattle to pastures very slowly, né? And avoid starting to graze high risk pastures when they are wet. Remove high risk animals and all those, and good basic good health to control animal diseases, good management, prevention, isolation, and all those. You just go through this. And the role of state in animal protection. What is the role of the government to ensure that the animals are treated correctly? So the state produces legislation, quarantine services, notifiable diseases, vaccines, and all those, the import and export bans and movement permits, even research, all those is a role of state. So in legislation, you can see those acts. Just go through Animal Health Act. It measures and promote animal health, measures and promote control of animal diseases. Just Animal Disease Act number 35, it controls animal diseases and parasites, and measures and promote animal health. And that one about fertilizers, registering of stock remedies and veterinary medicines. Duties of owners of animals as farmers, these are some of the act for them. Look at the Abattoir Hygiene Act. It prescribes the handling of meat and meat products in where the animals are slaughtered. Those are some of the acts. What are the also state has control over the remedies, the livestock remedies. Also, the state is the one that will introduce the quarantine services, that animals that are coming from outside need to be quarantined and checked for diseases before they enter the country. Here in South Africa, we have about 32 notifiable diseases. That is also responsibility of the state, that once the disease is discovered, the state need to be notified, and then the owners of animals need to report any suspicion of a disease. And the state also will provide state veterinarians who, these experts, what they do, They identify diseases and formulate immunizing and dosing program, and also guide the farmers on how to prevent the occurrence of these infectious diseases. E-vaccines, we've talked about e-vaccines that are given to animals to increase their immunity against diseases. You can say vaccines, they come when through a process called research. You see now even for um, COVID, there's a lot of research institutes that are busy trying to produce the vaccines, né, to prevent. Um, Also, states control a movement through a permit. If you want to move your animals from this area to the other, you must get a permit, move them using a permit. Also, duties of owners of animals, besitshelwa that they must apply the prescribed treatment as by advice of veterinarians, and they must also report infectious diseases to the authorities. So the import of and export of animals is the duty of the state. So that's about